So in this, we will see the characteristics, components of the windows, windows presentation style, types of windows, window managements, different management systems for the windows. Then organizing the functions with respect to window operations, web systems and windows, and characteristics of device based control. So all these are the points which we need to cover in this module. Okay, so going with the first one, that is characteristics of the windows. So what exactly the window is? The window is nothing but what we are seeing right now, right? That is one window. Or if I'll say this is the window of MS Team, if I'll say this is the window of PPT, right? Or if this is the window of our WhatsApp page, right? So all this is like different windows we can see over here. This is the window of my MS Team in the calendar, right? So when we are designing any UI for window, what characteristics the window generally has. So all the points which is covered in that, you can see that it is highlighted in the blue color. The window should have a name and title by which it will be identified. This is not required for the user side. It is required for the designer side. It is required for the developer side, right? Because he has a multiple windows on which he has to assign, he has to develop a application. So when he wants to refer with some window, that window should have a title. And sometimes we can see on the top the title of the window also in some application, not always in all the applications, right? So the window should have a name or title which it will allow to identify that window. Then the size of the window, right? uh, Size will always come into height and width, right? So it is not necessary the size of window should be a fixed size. It can be a vary, right? We can the way we can change the size of the window. How we can change the size of the window? We can drag it. Right now, see, this is the, I think you are able to see this class notification. The name of this is class notification. So the size of this window, I can able to change the size of this window, right? Height and width I can. So it will be varying. It's not necessary it should be always fixed. Then state of the window. The state of the window is whether it is active or not, disabled, right? Sometimes if it is active means it is accessible. We can access that window and we can work on that window. I mean, we can alter the contents of the window, or we can work on that window. But if it is not accessible, it is disabled. So state of the window will be either active or deactive. Then visibility of the window. So visibility stands for the portion that can be seen, right? So sometimes even though the window will be a big, when we'll change the size of the window, sometimes some of the portion of inside the content, some of the contents of in the window are visible, some of the contents are not visible. So it's the visibility, the portion that can be seen. A window may be partially or fully hidden behind another window, or the information within a window may extend beyond the window's display area, right? So for example, just now we have seen this, right? Now see in this, the content of this particular joining link, it's beyond the size of the window, right? So the visibility is only which is within the size of the window, but the contents are still more than the size of the window, right? If and in this particular, now suppose I am clicking on the another window, the this window will be completely hidden and it won't be accessible, right? So this is the portion, how much portion of the window is available. That is what it is talking about, visibility of the window. So this is also one of the character, visibility of the window. Then the location. Location is with respect to the where it is situated. Now this window is exactly in the center of the full display area. This window is I'm shifting, it is exactly in the top of the left side in the top. So this is nothing but the location of the window, right? So location of the window is relative to the display boundary. So generally when we will program it, when we'll develop it, we will take the with respect to the right side of the right align or right side, or from the bottom how much top, or from the top how much below, from the left how much this side. So that coordinates we need to give it, right? Then the next is presentation. Now presentation of the window is nothing but how it is arranged with respect to the other window. When it comes to the presentation as a characteristics of the window, it is nothing but the arrangement of the window with respect to the other windows. There can be presentation in tiled fashion, there can be a presentation in overlapping fashion, there can be a presentation in the cascading fashion, right? So you know that overlapping means one window is overlapping another window. Some of the portion of one window is visible, the window which is behind, that some portion is visible, some portion is hidden, right? So that is overlapping to each other. Tile means what? Tile means both the windows are visible on the screen, which is next besides each other, right? Which are not overlapping each other, which is next to next, which is one besides the other, right? Both are completely visible. That is in the tile fashion, the way we have a tiles in our house, or in on our floor, or on our windows, I mean walls, right? Which will be one besides the other. Everything is visible. So it can be a tile, or it can be in cascading fashion. Cascading fashion means generally we'll see in the fashion it will open in that, but in the cascading fashion. So that is the presentation characteristics of the window, which is telling that how the arrangement of the window with respect to the other window, okay, how it is opening. Then the next is management capabilities. There are number of methods on the manipulation of the window, which we'll see later in the particular topic. So there are number of methods. And the next characteristics is highlight. So highlight is nothing but the part that is selected in the window, the part which is highlighted in the window. That is one of the characteristics. And lastly, for what that window is dedicated. What is the function of the window? What is the task of the window? What is the application related to that window? All for which the window is dedicated. So all these are the characteristics which we have to which any window should possess, right? Or when we are developing any application and when we are creating some windows, we need to have this characteristics with respect to that window. So apart from how we can say window, in which way it is useful, or what are the different ways of the characteristics of windows. The first one is the presentation of different levels of information, right? The way I have told, the cascading and tiled and what is the overlapping, right? So sometimes the presentation of different levels of information. See, the document level of content can be presented in a window. A chapter or a topic selected from this window can be simultaneously displayed in more detail in an adjoining window. You would have seen in the PDF, when we'll open some book or something, or when we'll open some a document, big document, the main index of that document or main index of that book will be in the left side of the window, in the PDF, left side window of the PDF. And on which particular, in that index, on which particular topic we have selected. If we have selected the chapter 1, so on right side of the window, the contents of the chapter 1 will be displayed, right? So then only we have to work on the right side of the window. We have to scroll down to see the contents of that. So mostly we have seen in the PDF such kind of presentation where the presentation of the different levels of information through the two simultaneous window, where one window is containing the document, the table of contents, right, of that document, and other window is containing the actual information with respect to the particular content which has been selected from the first window, right? So it is adjoining windows, that is generally adjoining windows, because from the first window we are selecting something and some topic, and with respect to that topic we are getting the information in the adjoining next window, the side by window, right? So the next is presentation of multiple kinds of information. Now this is variable information needed to complete a task can be displayed simultaneously in adjacent windows. For example, in one window billing can be done, and in one window stock maintenance can be done at the same time using the other window also. So this is presentation of multiple kinds of information. We have seen that in many times with respect to many applications where we require the information from one window, and by taking that information we can do the process in another window, or we are doing some processing in one window and the reflection of that is happening into the other window also. The result what will be getting from one window will be reflecting in other window. So very good example they have given, like there is a window for billing. So we are doing the billing of some or something related to some stock maintenance. So whatever the changes we are doing in that particular one window, the result what will be reflecting in other window also, and at the same time in other window some of the changes are happening. Even in ER, if you would have done so many database DBMS mini projects you have done, then you have done web application mini projects, you would have seen that you would have done somewhere also such kind of system where you are entering in one window and the reflection will happen in the result of that one window will be reflected in other window, where there also some processing will happen in other window. So the presentation of multiple kinds of information, that is what, where you can have a multiple windows and how you can use the information of that windows. Okay, so what is the third one? The third one is sequential presentation of levels or kinds of information. So this is talking about steps to accomplish a task can be sequentially presented through the windows. So key windows may remain displayed, but other appears and disappears as necessary. So generally sequential presentation, maybe you can consider with respect to some kinds of Google form or some kinds of forms where you are supposed to enter the information and then you will click on the next, so that next window will be opening, then you again fill some data, then you will go for the next button, again it will go to the next window, you will fill the data, like that. It is sequentially presenting the kind of information and you are finishing your processing, right? So that is one kind of this thing. Or it's also saying that one window is remaining same and accordingly that the other windows are coming and disappearing as and when necessary. Fourth point is talking about access to different sources of information. So independent sources of information may have to be accessed at the same time. There are two different windows which is not related to each other, but you can access both the windows at a time. For example, now window, and I can read the behind, I can see the presentation also. So I have access right now to both the windows, right? So when I am accessing this window, or generally if I put this both the windows in tiled fashion, I can switch over from one window to another window and I can access the information of both the windows. Then combining multiple sources of information. Combining multiple sources means you are taking the different information from different window. You are copying that information and you are putting into a one window. So text from the several documents may have to be reviewed and combined into a one. Pertinent information is selected from one window and copied into another, right? So pertinent means the permanent, which is final kind of information. So you have a multiple documents in different windows, and from that multiple documents you are selecting some of the information, you are selecting some of the text, some of the information you are selecting, and you are combining into a one document. So you need to work on different windows. You are taking the data from different windows and you are combining into a one particular window or one particular document. Then next is performing more than one task. It is also possible you can do more than one task in the two different windows, where there can be possibility one task is highest priority with compared to the other task, or you can say you can have a two different tasks, like you are entering something in one particular document in one particular window, and in the background some other window is running. It is active, it's running, but the highest priority is for some other kinds of information, so some other kind of window. So it is like you are performing two different tasks, right? And the highest priority, the task which has the highest priority, that window will be visible. Then reminding kind of the reminding is nothing but some kind of pop-up window will come which will remind you something, kinds of reminder kind of windows, alert kind of windows, sometimes pop-ups windows will come. All this is another type of characteristics of windows, which is again it is the way it is presenting, the way the windows is appearing, right? So it is generally reminding kind of window. Then one is monitoring. You just monitoring one window from another window. You can monitor multiple windows, right? And the last one is multiple representation of the same task. You can have the same task, but you can represent in two different way. In one same task, you can use to display with the text or with the table. Same task you can use to display with the chart, right? So you can have a two windows in your application, where in one window you are showing the table of the data, in another window for the same data you are displaying in terms of chart. So multiple representation of the same task, that is what talking about multiple representation of the. So these are the some of the more points which we need to understand with respect to the, when we are coming with respect to the characteristics of the windows. Okay, so we have seen the characteristics of the windows, seen